Amanda here tonight? She's on vacation. Good, I'm gonna come around there.
Our regular council meeting of August 23rd, 2018. Getting a little bit of a late start. Our agenda work session ran over just a bit. But again, thank you for being here. And if you would, please stand for invocation and pledge to the flag. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, for all that you've done for us. We thank you for the opportunity to gather here tonight to discuss and conduct the city's business. We pray that you would have your hand on everything that is said and done, that it would be to honor and glorify you, that we would act and speak in a manner that is appropriate. And Lord, again, just guide us in everything we do, every decision that is made, that it's for the betterment of this city, and again, that it would be honoring to you. These things we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jan, we can have roll calls.
Mayor Lambert,
Here.
Vice Mayor Stoll,
Here.
Councilmember Cagle,
Here.
Councilmember Hilton, here, Councilmember Williams,
Here.
City Manager Miller,
Here.
City Attorney Litchfield.
Here. All right, I trust everyone has had an opportunity to review the items in the consent agenda. That would include the minutes from the August 9th agenda work session, the minutes from the August 9th regular council meeting, approval of the July 2018 financial statement, and then there's a declaration of surplus property. Motion approved. We have a motion to approve and a second. I was not present at the last meeting, so I will be abstaining. Just a sneak peek. We have the roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Stoll,
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle,
Yes.
Councilmember Hilton. Yes. Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Lambert.
Abstain. All right, it is time for communication from citizens. If you are a resident of the city of East Ridge or are a business owner here in the city, have a comment, question, or concern you'd like to bring to the council, this would be your opportunity to do so. If you'll come to one of the two microphones here at the front to state your name and address for the record, you will have up to 5 minutes. And we do have 5 folks who have signed in, so we're going to go down that list. I hope I get these names right. Molina Condon, is that right?
Yes.
3801 Fountain Avenue.
Yes, sir.
Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Hey, all right.
My name's Molina. I live on the corner of Marlin and Fountain Avenue. My husband and I bought the property 12 years ago. We've invested a lot of money in our property, and I think it has added to the value of the neighborhood. That being said, we're surrounded by duplexes and rental properties, which I think are bringing down our home value. The increased traffic makes it hard for us to get in and out of our driveway safely. People, when they come to our home, we have them turn around in our yard just so that they can go out on the road safely. So that's one of my concerns. The other is my local children. They attend school here in East Ridge. You know, they have to walk that road to get down to their bus stop. A lot of traffic, a lot of speeding, and I think bringing more apartments to that area is only going to make that worse. With that being said, I don't think that the apartment complex Sweet Bay has had our best interest at heart. You know, they've let that property sit there unattended for years. the apartment complex is across the street from the main building, where the windows were ripping out, the sliding court doors were open. You know, anybody could have been in there and living in there. It had like crime scene tape across it for years. My mother was attacked at Germantown Gardens. This was with Randall Reed. He was the son of my mother's neighbor, and he knew of my mom. So the day on January 14th, 2011, he broke her door in. When he broke her door in, she was taking a nap in her bed. She came towards the exit. He picked her up, and he threw her onto the bed. Okay? So he asked her where the money was. She told him. He couldn't find it. So she started to get up again. She's waddling down the hall best as she can, wearing oxygen, very frail. He picks her up again. Takes her again, goes on the bed. Duct tapes her from her shoulders down to her hips, and then again from her thighs almost down to her ankles. Starts to put tape across her mouth so that she can't scream. But she said, you know, please don't do that, that'll kill me. And for whatever reason, God looked at her, and he did. The mom did survive that. He took the money. He kicked the door in to the apartment complex. It's the same one that this company owns. The whole door frame came in. It wasn't even anchored to the walls. When maintenance put the door back up, all they had to do was just push it back up. Now my husband and my brother went there, and they secured the door. That's probably the most secure apartment that they had there. But Mr. Reed took that money, went to meet his ex-wife. They went to a hotel, they bought drugs, they partied all night, and then the very next day they killed the Stokes. Okay? So that being said, it was associated with rental properties, and it just wasn't safe. I don't feel like it's safe. I hear people yelling in the street, down at the duplexes down from my home, and the lighting is not well there. The police are in and out of these complexes all hours of the night. And I just don't feel like, as a homeowner and a voter here in East Ridge, that we should have to live like that. I think we should feel safe in our homes. I think if they need real property, there's other opportunities in other places. I think we have plenty here already.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Sean Condon. Also 3801 Fountain Avenue.
Yes, I did. My wife. Sean Condon, 3801 Fountain Avenue. Like to voice my concerns. Sweet Bay does concern me. We moved there about 13 years ago. Like she said, it took forever to get that place across the street tore down. It was rat infested. It was horrible. We started building and making the facade on the other side of the street nicer looking, but then they didn't do anything for 6 years. I just finally saw trucks moving in, moving out, everything like that when this was coming up. They did not do anything. And I'm not even sure what they're doing. Like she said, like my wife said, Germantown Apartments, we moved her mother-in-law there, real close to us. It looked real nice. It's probably one of the better apartments complexes we own. They own like 3 or 4. They have Spring Creek Gardens, which flood all the time. Newcastle, which just had the gunshots. Germantown Gardens, Sweet Bay, and all that. They may put a good paint job on things and they do well, but they literally put construction adhesive and put a door frame. It's cheap for them because all you do is push it back up and put a door frame there for construction. So I don't trust them building anything decent other than anything being inspected like electric or plumbing. I used to say they're just not gluing things up here, doing things like this and how whatever it looks like. You know, it may look nice, but I don't think they really care. They have not done a darn thing on that apartment complex until about a month ago. I saw a couple things going on, and then I found out this is why. It's because shoulders are falling in, everything's going out. I had a neighbor at the end of my street, across from Delaware Christian Academy, had bullet holes in his window, and he had to put a big sign there and said, please, new owners, don't shoot, for 3 months. So I had to come home and look at a sign that says, please don't shoot. I mean, would you want to go back to your neighborhood with gunshots in the window just because they think somebody else across from the school? It's ridiculous. I do not want them to get rezoned for that. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. The next name is Jacob Howe. 813 Belmore Hills Circle.
Hello, my name is Jacob Howe. I'm speaking on behalf of myself and my wife, who couldn't make it today. She's out of town. Recently, we purchased a home at 813 Belvoir Hills Circle. We bought this back in November, and I'm really excited to be a part of the community. Thank you. And I want to thank you for allowing us to speak on this ordinance 1076 as well. As citizens, we do believe the public comment's not only important, and it's our right to express our concerns and challenge changes that could happen in our community. We're proud to be a part of that. My wife Dana and I, like I said, are new homeowners. We purchased this house in November, and we moved here because we found a nice, renovated home and within our budget. As the prices of homes continuing to rise in Chattanooga, most of the first-time home buyers will be seeking home ownership in affordable areas such as East Ridge and Red Bank. Just as we did, we're proud of our home and we take pride in our home. We've had comments from neighbors that are thanking us for the pride that we've taken in and the improvements that we've made to the neighborhood, that not only ourselves but our neighbors feel that that's adding value to the neighborhood that we're in. We are opposed to rezoning this area because we believe that more rentals will not encourage long-term investment, it will not encourage ownership, and it will not lead to neighborhood improvement and community building amongst our neighbors. East Ridge is already almost 50% homeowners and 50% renters from the research that we've done, and we do not think that encouraging more rental in our area will encourage long-term investment, build the community, or promote improvement of our neighborhood. We ask you as city councilors to think about the long-term vision of the East Ridge community and oppose the rezoning of this area. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next person is Earl Wilson. (2019) Pioneer Ridge Trail.
I got nominated to present this for the Needy Children's Fund, and we're having an event at Camp Jordan Park on October 13th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. that day. And this is going to be an event that at the end of the day will benefit needy children and family of East Ridge for what we do in December and throughout the year. With that being said, what we're looking to do is, first of all, we would like to challenge anybody that's running for an elected office, so we get people out here this coming year to be there, invest some of your campaign funds in a booth, get a chance to talk to the people that want to be there, sort of like a meet and greet that you would have. During this time, there will also be vendors there that will be selling food and other items. We're looking for sponsors that might want to have a business that wants to come down. We have a variety of different prices from $50 up to $500, depending on how much space you want to rent. We are also going to ask and challenge all the people that's running for political office. We're going to have a dunking tank there that day. And anybody who's running for office, we feel, should be sitting up there on that dunking tank and let the citizens take a shot and raise money for the needy children. And,
We'll have
I'm not the only one that came up with this idea, so just shoot it. Do what?
You came up with it?
No. But I'm all for it, I'll spend a couple $100 if the right people. So, I'll start saving now. But what we're trying to do is we're looking for the Chamber of Commerce, business owners, the IPBO, firemen, EMTs, the churches, everybody look at participating in this, taking a booth. We're trying to find a way for this to be just the beginning of many of these to come forward in the years so that we can hopefully bring a community spirit back to East Ridge. We saw life breathed into the city this year, and we'd like to continue that heartbeat, keep it going and make it stronger. So if anybody has a business or you just want to give $5, $10, whatever, we'll be glad to take it. We'll come to your house, whatever we got to do to help these kids out. Last year there were 161 children and 54 families that we fed. And I know Herman's here. He was a big part in helping us achieve our goals last year, and we'd like to top that. I mean, this is a great place to live. We're the gateway to Georgia. People. I mean, it's just I keep coming back here. I've moved in and out before. The convenience and the community are the two best things about it. So, if anybody wants any of these farms or wants to participate in any way, let us know, and look forward to seeing everybody. And we promise not to put ice in that water on the dunking tank today. Just so, anyway. Thanks.
Thank you. Sounds like I'm exempted from the drinking tank.
All of you are. No dunking tank, no vote.
I have 7 meetings left, 109 days. I'm counting. Not that I'm counting. All right. Next person is Leslie Bostain, 731 Germantown Circle.
Mr. Lambert, do you want to read those 2 letters before I
Oh.
speak?
I'll be glad to. That's fine.
Do you want me to sit down or?
I don't know how long this will take, so it might be better if you sat down, unless you just want to stand. I mean, either way is fine. Either way. There are a couple of letters that have been submitted by citizens that I wanted to read into the record. The first one dated August 19th. Mr. Mayor and City Council members, my husband and I moved from Harrison to East Ridge in March 2013. My husband's health was failing and he wanted us to be closer to needed services, stores, physicians, hospitals, church, etc. We did our own due diligence and decided on the Belmore Hills neighborhood for our home. We were aware that East Ridge was in need of revitalization, but were heartened by the positive changes we saw beginning to happen. The crime rate at the time was pretty consistent with that in other areas of similar size, but not enough to make us want to move to East Ridge. My husband passed away in August 2014, content that I, as a senior citizen, would be living in a safe and good neighborhood. Thankfully, there's not been much crime in my immediate area. I often drive by the Sweet Bay complex on Fountain Avenue and have been increasingly concerned about the deteriorating state of buildings visible from the street. I began attending city council meetings after the rezoning earlier this year. I have followed citizens' concerns about Sweet Bay ever since then. At the July 12, 2018 City Council meeting, I stood up and voiced my concerns about 1, increased traffic at the blind spot approaching the complex that could be a traffic hazard. 2, increased crime based on the type of residents who could potentially move into this apartment complex. After all, Sweet Bay is not a high-end apartment complex. 3, increased number of police calls to the area between Belmore Hills Drive to Germantown Road, in particular domestic abuse calls. 4, would police presence be increased for both neighborhood and apartment residents' protection? I attended a called meeting on August 8th, 2018 at the East Ridge Community Center to address citizen concerns about the Sweet Bay apartment, in particular the Lexington Assets Management crime-free lease addendum. A representative of the management group as well as the general contractor for the demolition/construction of the site were in attendance to listen to and address citizen concerns. I also attended the August 9th City Council meeting in which citizen concerns about Sweet Bay were again voiced. There were no satisfactory answers given for ongoing concerns about 24/7 security for the complex and neighbors, as well as the number of Section 8 residents who could pass the Sweet Bay application process. I believe all citizens should have safe, secure, and reasonable housing. However, I left the council meeting with no assurances that the neighborhood surrounding the Sweet Bay complex would be a safer neighborhood. I respectfully ask the city council not to amend or approve the rezoning of the Sweet Bay property located at 3623 Fountain Avenue, East Ridge, Tennessee, from R1 residential to R3 apartment. Respectfully, Constance Rodders Blake, 839 Belvoir Hills Drive, East Ridge, Tennessee. Second letter. I have been a longtime resident since 1995 on Fountain Avenue. One of the best things that I have seen happen was the building across from Sweet Bay Apartments being torn down because the upkeep was not done. The number of foot traffic on Fountain has decreased a little. However, I understand now you are trying to rezone Sweet Bay to be able to rebuild. That's one of the worst things that could happen. The last thing that needs to happen as far as I'm concerned. The apartments are an eyesore to homeowners on Fountain Avenue. If I'm honest on any, I'm sorry, this is handwritten, so it's a little bit difficult. If I'm honest on any street for that matter. Okay, let me reread that sentence. The apartments are an eyesore to homeowners on Fountain, and if I'm honest, on any street for that matter. If it's a home, that's one thing, but Fountain does not want or need any more apartments. It brings down the value of our homes. I don't feel safe when I have to take my dogs out. That is why I usually take my gun with me. Yes, I have a carry permit. I say get rid of the rest of Sweet Bay Apartments. They aren't managed well, or they never would have gotten into the shape they have. I'm totally against that area being rezoned and for something other than for anything other than a single dwelling home. Something else that needs to happen is the runoff water from Germantown when it rains is horrendous. It comes down into our yard driveway and stands, which is not good for the foundation. We've already gone to the city several times trying to get this handled with no luck, so we certainly don't need other problems. Listen to the homeowners. Let's do something positive for East Ridge. No rezoning. Thank you. Eric and Donna. The last name, I'm sorry. I don't. It just says thank you, Eric and Donna. Is there a last name that goes with it?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
It was in my mailbox.
Okay.
They're residents on Fountain.
Okay. Okay. Ms. Boston.
Leslie Boston, 731 Germantown Circle, and that's Lesley. It's one thing to consider the financial plans of a large management company. 2 weeks ago, the Planning Commission unanimously voted down 80 potential units outside of the tunnels. The gentleman was told there's too much traffic and that East Ridge doesn't need any more apartments. Based on what Mr. Litchford said tonight, you all hold the keys to rezoning. Lexington Assets is looking to improve their return on their investment, the ROI. At some point, you have to consider what is the ROI for the city and the citizens. I suggest to you there is no ROI for the city. We are spending a lot of our resources on these CFAs, the calls for assistance, to 5 of their properties. I have some statistics from the Hamilton County 911 if you all want to look at them. Sweet Bay is averaging a call a month this year. Newcastle is averaging, at this point, 5.8 calls a month at the Newcastle Apartments. Citizens ROI, if you rezone this, potentially makes available 20 to 60 more units of rental property. That's going to have a negative effect on our investments, our property values, personal property, our personal safety, infrastructure. This is a tough situation. If you rezone, you give about 3 acres of blanket R3. Lexington Assets or Sweet Bay can come in and build on the demoed site along with the 20 units that they have been rehabbing. If you don't rezone, they still potentially can build 40 units on the demoed site, and then they have to maintain an empty building. It's a tough situation. You all need thoughtful and conscious decisions on how you handle this. Citizens need from you a measured decision, and Lexington Assets needs from you an answer on the rezone request. I hope that you're very thoughtful in what you do with this request. Wiser people have come to me and said, why don't you ask if Lexington Assets is willing to do a zone swap? Give them their R3 to the 20-unit building that they've been working on, and in exchange, have them do an R1 on the demoed site. That guarantees to the citizens that 40 more units will never be built, and it constricts the growth. They're willing to negotiate on something like that. They can work on their return on investment, and the citizens can be guaranteed less rental properties in the area. When I came in this evening, I was also handed some photos from another resident on Fountain Avenue. There's not really a letter, but there are descriptions of all the pictures. It's kind of a narrative that I'd be glad to pass around.
If you would, that would be.
I'd be glad to. There are narratives of what's going on in the pictures. Please consider this very carefully. You all have gone to school with some of these people that live on this road. There are retirees, there are new homeowners, there are people that want to pass their properties down to their kids. Don't devalue our property by increasing the ROI for Lexington Assets.
Thank you. Do we have another? Yes, sir, we will get to you in just a minute when it's time for the, when we actually get into what should be discussion of ordinance 1076. I will absolutely bring it forward. Do we have another? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. If you come forward and state your name and address for the record, please.
I'm here with my wife. I'm Steve Crone. I live at 800 Belvoir Hills Drive, so I'm on the corner of Fountain and Belvoir Hills. I also stand opposed to rezoning. We have seen just horrible things. We see the police going up there all the time. We remember the property that was across the street from that. There were vagrants that were living in it. It was just a horrible situation. One of the best things that ever happened to our neighborhood was when that was torn down. And it's, quite frankly, better as a parking lot than it was what it was then. And so I encourage this council to please consider denying rezoning for this property. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, do we have enough? Okay, we'll move to communication from council members. Mr. Cagle, do you have anything for us?
No, probably on that night.
Okay, Mr. Sewell. Mr. Sewell. Mr. Williams.
Yes, I have a few things. One, I wanted to bring up, Jones Memorial is having their annual barbecue. It'll be September 15th from 10 to 6 in Fellowship Hall / gym. Plates are $9, sandwiches are $5, boiled beef $10 a pound, stuffed potatoes for $8, and the choices are in pork and beef. Proceeds of this goes toward buying coats for children in their schools here in the district. So everyone is welcome and invited to attend. Appreciate it. Secondly, I've got to notice that some of our officers are wearing new body cameras. And it's an awesome to bring that in, now being distributed, correct?
It's my understanding, all the patrol have them, and that's it. Maybe traffic, we still have the detectives in the other units. Like, they came in last, was it last Friday or last,
They came in last week.
it came in last week, so we've been, it didn't work.
That's awesome. We've had some problems with that previously. And then lastly, just wish everyone a Labor Day weekend and safe, since we won't meet again until afterwards.
Yes, Ms. Huff.
Yes, East Ridge Middle School, they received the top rating for student academic growth. They had 5. It's the second year in a row, and so I'd like to congratulate them. That's great.
Fantastic. There are quite a few photos passed along here. I do want to reiterate a couple of things that I've heard. One is that the 9/11 luncheon coming up, that is an agenda item that we have moved from the agenda work session and made it item E under new business tonight. I do also want to wish everyone a safe and happy Labor Day. The end of the summer, it's hard to believe it's, well, not the official end, but basically the end of summer. It's hard to believe it's gone already. That is, I was going to talk about something else, but I'll wait. I'll wait. So, anyway, I'll hand it over to Mr. Miller.
All right, just one announcement, it's a good one. Several months ago, we put in for a $500,000 grant to the local park and recreation fund of the state. Served word the other day, actually looking at the list of, I think there were 34 applications totaling $12 to $13 million that were funded this year. We were funded for $500,000 for Pioneer Frontier Park and the splash pad. So this probably will not go out, see any construction occurring on this project till next year, but it's positive that we were one of the parks that got funded. That's because apparently the initiative under Governor Haslam has been, he wants the state of Tennessee to have the best parks of all the states around. And he really showed it this time by putting money into TILs and fund to be able to fund and spend parks. It's great to see something like this happen. So a lot of them around the area got what they wanted, especially us. So we're pleased. That's it.
Well, I think if someone here can correct me, please feel free. But I believe that particular grant is the same grant that we received 4 years ago, and we gave it back. It was $100,000 for a park that was to be constructed where the Walmart is now. So I think we came out on the better end of the deal. We have a nice new Walmart, and we now have a $500,000 grant, 5 times what the other grant had been. And there was a lot of hand-wringing and gnashing of teeth at the time we gave it back. There were comments that, oh, they will never give us another grant again if we get this back. Well, They were actually impressed by the fact that we gave it back, the state was, rather than let's just try to use it just because we had it. So kudos to the staff, everyone involved in making that happen. I'm sorry.
I'm done. I'm sorry, I'm done.
Sorry to preempt you there.
Nope,
All right.
that was my announcement.
Okay. All right, we will move on to old business, item A, ordinance 1076, which has been tabled since June 14th. And I do want to recognize Mr. Russell Smith, Director of Operations, Lexington Asset Management. Mr. Smith, if you would come forward, please. I think you have some information that you would like to share with us.
I do, thank you. First, I'd like to say, perhaps for the fundraiser, putting me in the dunk tank would be the most successful thing. Only kidding. I would like to say, I was a little disappointed that to hear sort of overwhelmingly negative tone on our project tonight after what I felt like were really productive meetings a couple of weeks ago. I definitely understand the negative experience, or I try to understand the negative experiences that some of the residents on Fountain Avenue and the surrounding streets had. Having said that, I would like to note a couple of things that I felt like there were some statements made that maybe confused the issues a little bit. One being the tenure of our ownership. We bought Sweet Bay in 2013. Doesn't mean we've done an excellent job or knocked it out of the park since we got it, but a lot of the issues that I hear about are prior to our ownership. Secondly, a little timeline of our ownership. Our intent was to renovate all of the buildings immediately upon acquiring the project. Unfortunately, we got 2 buildings, the swimming pool and the office done, and had a contractor that basically walked on us. That resulted in a lawsuit, which is the reason we've had a 2-year delay on the project since then. And the third issue that I'd like to address is what we're asking for a zoning variance on now is only the building in the front with 20 units in it. We're not asking for permission to build more units. We're not asking permission to build across the street. We're simply asking to finish the building that we started that's facing the street. And we've done some exterior work to that prior to having an issue with our contractor, but we'd like to finish it. I'd also like to address concerns on quality of construction. This project is like any other project. It would go through a permitting process, a thorough inspection process prior to getting a certificate of occupancy. And that will be conducted by the city of East Ridge. So it won't be me saying, take my word for it, we built this really well. It will be a thorough inspection at every stage of the reconstruction. And I think we had Mr. Miller put together this nice summary of our meeting a couple weeks ago with the citizens. But there's a list of things that that the 40 in attendance asked of us to do. And I know that one of the letters tonight said that she left that meeting with no assurances that that would be done. Well, the simple answer there is it was the first time that I'd heard about half of the request. So it's very difficult for me as a representative of our company to give a 100% response in a live meeting to us doing things. I didn't say no to anything. And what I did say is that I would go back and study it and come back with some information, and that's what I've done. I would also like to note that no one wanted to hear or wanted to take the request off the table until Building 5 was demoed. The demo is complete. It's been strawed and seeded as of today. So I'm saying all this in that I want everyone in attendance to understand that we're doing the best that we can do to honor our commitments. We very much want to see a property that the neighborhood can be proud of. I think that we try to do that at all of our properties. We're not always successful. It's a difficult business to manage properties, particularly when you buy properties that are 30, 40, 50 years old. They simply require a lot of maintenance. We're putting 7 figures into Germantown Gardens this year. We're going to put 7 figures into Sweet Bay if you guys allow us to do that. And both of which I have no doubt will increase the $140,000 in property taxes we already pay annually to the city of East Ridge. But I want to provide some information and some feedback on some of the requests that the residents made at the meeting 2 weeks ago. We had requests for fencing and requests for a landscape. I'm working with some local teams to put together a plan so we can see that visually, so that we can actually agree on something that we can execute and there won't be any confusion on what the landscape and the fencing is going to look like. We've been asked to install a traffic mirror at the entrance so that people can have safe entry and exit from the property. We are going to do that. We've been asked to provide a bus stop pad for kids so that they can congregate there and be picked up by the bus. I'll be honest with you, this has been a little bit of a challenge. You know, we kind of jokingly call me the absentee landlord here, I think in previous meetings, but it's also difficult to work with a local school district where you don't live and you don't have kids. And so I have some ideas on how I could work with either East Ridge City government and or the citizens to make this happen, to where we can provide property and some funds, but I need some help from someone who's local. I'm happy to discuss that offline with anybody. The request was that we implement a crime-free housing addendum to the lease agreements. That we heard earlier from the city attorney that basically you guys can't require us to do that. We do it anyway. So we're not asking y'all to push us to do it. We do it anyway. Doesn't mean we don't ever have crime on our properties, but you have to understand that, like at Germantown Gardens, that's a 200-unit apartment complex. Do you know how large a neighborhood is with 200 single-family homes? So it sounds like a lot that you have 3 or 5 calls in a month, but would it sound odd if you had 3 or 5 calls in 10 or 12, 20 blocks of a neighborhood? It wouldn't sound odd to me. I think we've had a request that we install adequate lighting around the apartment complex. I walked it this morning. We have LED pack lights on the ends of every building, on each side of every building, except for the building up by the street that we haven't done yet, and we will put lights on that building as well. We've been asked to install video surveillance at strategic locations. We currently have a camera system with 6 cameras. They're all mounted on the office, pointing in different directions. That's a pretty good spot for them because there's one point in and one point out of that property. So anybody who drives in or drives out is on camera. But we will be putting in cameras at other spots of the property behind buildings when we do the renovation. Lastly, you know, I was saddened that some of the feedback that I heard tonight, the stories are terrible. You know, I don't condone those. I don't think that sounds ideal. It's certainly not the kind of business that we want to run. I did not see several of those residents at the community meeting, and I'm not saying that in a critical way, but I'm saying it to say that my door is open. I'm happy to talk to anybody. I passed out my email address at the last meeting. I can stay tonight and pass it out. Ms. Boston has my email address. She's happy that she can pass it out as much as she needs to. So I'm not asking that we take it off the table tonight, but I felt like we had momentum coming out of the August meeting. I personally believe that finishing those 20 units is the right thing for the neighborhood. We're going to landscape the property. It's going to have new signage. It's going to look nice. And there seems to be some idea that having a vacant building there is better for the neighborhood. I couldn't disagree more. I just do not understand that. You know, and I live in a neighborhood that's very dense in Memphis with a lot of apartments. So this is not me, you know, standing from afar and saying that it's okay. I live in neighborhoods with apartments. I have apartments within a block of my house. So I just want to leave it at, you know, we sped up our demo cycle. We thought it was going to take 4 or 5 weeks. It took 2. The building, the demo. I'm in the process of addressing the rest of the request and plan to reach out to Mr. Miller and Ms. Bostain and whoever I can between now and the next meeting with some more definite things. But I would really appreciate any residents who have concerns or specific questions to reach out to me. You know, I'm not trying to hide. I'm happy to answer any questions, discuss by phone. We're happy to change our plans because we have a list of changes right here. Some of which we would have done anyway, some of it we wouldn't have done. So I'd like to leave it at that and thank everybody for your time. And you know, I know this has been a topic for going on 4 months at council meetings now, so I hope we can come to resolution in the near future.
Thank you, sir.
Sure. Any questions for me? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, I had one comment. I read it in the thing we got at the last council meeting about your fencing.
Yes, sir.
And I read it said you're gonna put 8-foot fence in the back, 4-foot fence across the front.
That's what was requested in the meeting.
Is that what you're gonna do?
I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
But that's, the landscape plan that I would like to put together will have fencing heights, locations, and a visual what it'll look like.
So the fencing gonna be across the front, is just gonna be a gated thing or it's just gonna be two posts over there to drive in and out?
I'm not totally sure that we're gonna be able to get across the front. I'm still looking at cost. We certainly will be able to fence the entire perimeter of the property, in my opinion, up to points that would keep anyone from wandering from our property onto another one, 3 yards. But as we started looking at it this week, I felt like getting a landscape architect involved was the right thing to do. There's a lot of moving parts, and I didn't want to misrepresent what we were gonna do and then have people be disappointed down the road. So I thought a visual of, this is what we're gonna plant, this is what the fence is gonna look like. And then we have an actual starting point for discussion.
Are there any other questions? Appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Not here, I'm sorry.
Very well.
After the meeting, we can certainly, I
That's
think he
okay.
said he would make himself.
Probably would benefit the citizens, but that's okay.
Well, it's, over the last few months, we've allowed a lot of commentary to take place that's outside normal protocol. And there's a time and a place for everything.
Well, I know 2 weeks ago, Mr. Miller invited me back up, and so I just didn't know if that was a violation of protocol or not.
Well, I wasn't here, so I don't know, but,
I guess I don't understand, why she can't speak.
because we allow citizens 5 minutes to address. And if this is going to continue, it's going to be back and forth, I want the last word, and we're not gonna do that. We're just not gonna do that. And again, 109 days, folks, and I'll be gone, and somebody else can manage the service. I'm just not gonna do that. I will say this. I respect everyone's opinion. I really do. And you can laugh. I don't care. Whatever. I see you back there laughing. It's okay. Anyway, the fact of the matter is, I find it very interesting that many of the same folks who were up in arms over their own personal properties are giving these guys down the road about their property. What about their property rights? I think, they're bending over backwards. It certainly appears as if they're bending over backwards having meetings. That's very unusual for a developer to have a meeting with citizens to get their input. So I applaud you. I don't know how this thing is going to turn out. I have no idea. But again, I find it ironic that many of the people who had been involved in the property rights movement or whatever it is, simply because of a housing authority redevelopment plan that wasn't even going to touch people's properties, people's homes, and move them out of their homes. But now those same people are saying, you guys do not have a right to come back and do something on your property. I find that ironic. I do. So, anyway, we will move on. I'll stop. Do we have a motion to remove this from the table? If not, it will stay on the table. It will remain on the table. Item B, ordinance 1079 on second and final reading.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, to amend ordinance number 1078 entitled An ordinance to provide revenue for the city of East Ridge, Tennessee for the fiscal year July 1, 2018 to June 30, 2019, appropriating the same for the payment of expenses of the municipal government by designating a portion of the unassigned fund balance of the general fund and capital projects fund, and by changing the expenditures of the general fund and the capital project fund.
Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Are there any comments or questions? Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Stoll.
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Hilton. Yes. Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Lambert.
Yes. Item C, Resolution 2825.
Mayor, this is like, you want to read this, it was taken. A resolution of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, authorizing the expenditure of funds from the city's fund balance for construction of a field house at the East Ridge High School football stadium.
This was tabled August 9th. I don't know if we have any additional information or.
We did have a meeting, Tim James, Kenny Custer, myself, along with Drew Hausler and Laura Hahn from DHW Architects. And we still have a little work to do on it, so this is not ready to be taken off the table tonight. Hopefully, September 13th, we'll have additional information for you, provide to you, but at this time, we do not.
Okay, is there a motion to remove from the table? I hear none. It will remain on the table. Item D, Resolution 2834.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, for the mayor to appoint blank to the East Ridge Planning Commission.
I'm still waiting on a response, and I understand that term expires, I believe, tomorrow. But I hope to have something in place before their next meeting, if that's possible. Under new business, item A, Resolution 2839.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, awarding bids for the purchase of an inflatable rescue boat for the fire rescue department.
And Chief Williams is going to give us an update on this one.
That's correct. Mayor and council, we sent bids out again for the rescue inflatable boat. On the original bids that we sent out, we only received one bid. So we sent those bids back out. Since that time, we've received 2 different bids on that rescue boat. With saying such, we had budgeted, this was a budget item in our capital request. We budgeted $20,000 for it. One of these vendors was over that amount, had given us 2 options. Option 1 was $35,963.50. Option 2 was $23,873.50. Both of those options were from Rescue South out of Asheville, North Carolina. One boat, the other vendor that bid on this, bid one price, which was $13,967.50. So this is definitely well under what we had budgeted. It'll be a great savings to the city. We also would like to recommend that the council, mayor, take that low amount of $13,967 from one boat, which is a rescue boat vendor. Question? delivered? I spoke with the gentleman from North Carolina on the phone, with the one that gave us the two options. Went over the options that he'd give us. I said, you understand what we're asking. This is the type of boat we want, this is the size motor we want, these are the options that were thrown out there. And he said, I understand that. He said, we don't sell exactly that brand motor, and I said, I understand. We sell a different brand motor. They sell a different type motor. It's called a jet propelled motor. So some of that type of motor puts that price way up. That was the biggest difference. There was a few small options between the two. But as far as the engine itself, that's the main difference. You are satisfied with the low bid? Yes, sir, stay on the low bid. And the low bid is not always the best bid. I understand what it is. In this case, I feel pretty confident with it.
Now, this says a Merc 40 on it, does it not?
Sir?
Merc 40?
It is a Merc 40, that's correct.
That's a good loader.
This option here comes with it's a rescue boat with a trailer, Mercury 40 horsepower motor, electric start, tiller steer, power trim. It's got the SCBA, S-Scuba, adapter for quick fill, so we can fill with our air tanks on the scene. Has a roll-up fuel bladder, which makes it easier also to transport if need be. It appears that the one boat met all of our expectations on our request. Motion to approve 2830 Lance on the low bid.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Stoll,
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle,
Yes.
Councilmember Hilton,
Yes.
Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Neighbor.
Yes. Thank you. That item is approved. Item B, Resolution 2840.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, authorizing the mayor or his designee to enter into a final agreement with the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office for the HCSO to be the hosting agency for the server which supports the record management systems and field-based reporting.
Yes, sir. Mayor and Council, this was brought by Chief Reed back in July, and I think that version has been slightly changed so that instead of a one-year agreement, they go to a 3-year agreement, but the price remains the same per year. And that year will start on August the 1st of this year and run through July 31st of 2019, and then subsequent years, August 1st to July 31st.
Motion to approve 2840.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Are there any comments or questions? Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Stoll,
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle,
Yes.
Councilmember Hilton,
Yes.
Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Neighbor.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Item C, Resolution 2841.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, authorizing the city manager or his designee to purchase 2 2018 Nissan Frontier trucks for the Building and Codes Department and 1 2018 Nissan NV 200 van for the Animal Services Department, Tennessee Department of General Services statewide contract listing pursuant to Tennessee Code Annotated 12-3-1201B.
These are replacement vehicles.
Motion approved. We have a motion and a second to approve. Are there any comments or questions? Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Stoll,
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle,
Yes.
Councilmember Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Lambert.
Yes. Item is approved. Item D, Resolution 2842.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, awarding bids for construction of the Adventure Guild driveway path in Camp Jordan Park.
One of the components of the Camp Jordan Park upgrade enhancement project included the construction of a pathway leading from the parking lot, northeast portion of the park, to the location of the zip line and other courses that Adventure Guild is setting up. It'd be a 12-foot pathway, 800 feet in length from the parking lot to the zip line course area. Be no parking, be blocked off. The reason we're making it 12 feet is just in case we need to get an emergency vehicle down there to get anybody who needs medical assistance. It's swampy back towards the tree line area, and I don't want trucks to get stuck trying to handle an emergency situation. But other than that, this pathway will be a pathway for people to walk on, will be gated off, and not used for any vehicular traffic or truck traffic whatsoever. We received one bid. We were kind of hoping for others. However, the one bid we did receive was from Tally Construction, the amount of $118,000. Tally, we've seen their work. Matter of fact, they did a stellar job in 2017 on our road resurfacing project throughout the city. And recently, we saw them do all the resurfacing, asphalt resurfacing up at Exit 1. They did that. So we have a very high confidence level of Tally Construction Company. This money would be coming out of the proposed $2.3 million bond issue, which we have yet to close on because we haven't had any major projects. So the money will come out of the fund balance. And when we do close on the bond later this year, early next year, 2019, I don't want to be paying debt service on just using a little bit of money. We can use our own until we get the big projects moving out there, which would be bathrooms, replacement bathrooms, renovation of bathrooms, concession stands, etc. Those improvements will be in the millions of dollars. So this is before you tonight for your consideration for approval.
I have one question. I see where it's going to cross our pathway going around that we've already got around.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we had that problem with Tinsley. So can we ask these people to cut Tinsley out and make that the same pavement? And so we won't have any.
Oh, it's going to be asphalt.
Understand that. But we're going to be driving our emergency equipment back here, and if it drives across where Tinsley is, I'm not sure the emergency equipment will go around our walking path that Tinsley just redone.
Okay, well, all we're going to be doing is going across about a 10-foot swath of Tinsley's, and that's not going to be done on a regular basis. This area is going to be drier at that crossing than it is going to be further to the west when you get into the tree line area. Where the zip line is, that's the area which goes underwater. It gets wet.
I'll save it for when Tinsley comes back.
Tinsley's done.
Okay.
We're done with Tinsley. Tinsley went out
But
there.
how long have a warranty if we got for Tinsley on this walking track?
Do we have a warranty on it? No, we don't.
No, so that
We have.
does.
It belongs to us, no. When
Then
we
that's
went,
my question.
let me clarify
Yeah,
that.
we'll take care of the repair.
Tally's construction will be a 1-year warranty. Tinsley's construction, if you can remember, this was done through mediation session. We didn't discuss a warranty. They did not agree to provide a warranty on the second resurfacing of that. And we all agreed up here, this council was unanimous in regard to approving that mediation session. So there was no warranty through the mediation. It was brought up, one agreed to. So they did the resurfacing. We had our construction inspector out there watching that work go on to make sure that it was done to engineering standards. Not unlike the first time that we had it done, that ended us in the mess that we were in regard to substandard resurfacing of that track. We tried. So,
I have a question. Since we're asking questions. This 2.3 eventually, and this 118 now, it's going to be debt service, but it's also going to be covered by hotel motel tax, correct?
yes, the $2.3 million bond issue is going to be covered. The debt service will be covered over a period of 20 years with hotel motel tax generated from the new hotel, which is going to be opening in several months, which is the Hampton Inn. That hotel is expected to bring in $75,000 to $80,000 a year in hotel motel tax. Those are outside taxes. Those are 4%. People who stay in those hotels, either from events at Camp Jordan or because we're exit 1 on I-75. A lot of people that stay in those hotels.
Right. I just wanted to
So, yes,
understand that
that-
it's
that's-
coming from hotel motel
it's
tax
coming from
and
that.
not general fund.
No.
Okay.
No.
And the other thing you mentioned was gate. I know there's a discussion possibly inserting poles.
We can do that.
And I'm okay either way, but you mentioned you didn't want to restrict walking or pedestrians walking through a gate may. So I don't know what your thoughts are on gate versus.
We haven't decided that yet, but I've got to find a way to put up, to make sure that we don't have trucks
I agree.
back there. And the key to it is making sure services, because by God, if we just put a string or a chain across that thing, they're gonna run through it and knock it down, just like.
I know over in Fort Oakville, they've got poles that go in the entrance,
I know.
and they've got locks.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's what we were thinking. I'm thinking something very similar to that, because I just don't want to, we can't be out there 24/7. And I don't need people using that for other than what it's intended to be. It's a pathway.
I wasn't questioning that. I just wanted
I
to
know.
know the gate versus the rods and the poles.
You can remember what we did with that little roadway that comes off of the Camp Jordan Parkway that leads back into the wooded area on the west. We started that with asphalt, we started that with, finally with concrete, and we did have a gate there for a while, and they just kept busting it down. So finally, they have access to that, and that's not under our control, unfortunately. So I don't want the same situation happening in this pathway. People just barreling through.
Is there anything else? Okay, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve. Do we have a second? Second. We have a second? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Stoll?
Yes.
Councilmember Page?
Yes.
Councilmember Halpern? Yes. Councilmember Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Lambert?
Yes. Item is approved. Item E, permission for the use of the community center for the 9/11 luncheon.
What's the date on that, please?
9/11.
That was a dumb question, wasn't
I
know that. Usually they are on that day, but I'm just asking it because 9/11's been quite a while ago, 20 years.
That's a Tuesday.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Motion. We got it. Motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Stoll?
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle?
Yes.
Councilmember Halpern? Councilmember Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Lambert?
Yes. All right. Thank you all for being here tonight. Again, have a safe and happy Labor Day. See you next time.